Soy Carmen y este canal Mano, el canal dedicado a todos los sobrevivientes con cáncer y a todas las personas afectadas por él. Este es un espacio donde nos acompañamos los unos a los otros y aprendemos acerca de este proceso llamado sobrevivir. Today we are with Hannah. Hi Hannah, how are you?
I'm good.
The first question is, who is Hannah?
Hannah is a 30-year-old woman from Ireland who now works in cybersecurity.
How was to have cancer in Ireland?
The type of cancer I had was cervical cancer. I do have like a different, also a frame of reference, I guess, for medical treatment because I was actually diagnosed when I was in Australia. So the first part of my journey was over there. And in Australia, I felt like there was a great importance placed on it and an openness to talk about things. When I guess I didn't find that as much in Ireland. So yeah, Ireland, the services are there. Sometimes you just have to advocate for yourself to get them, I think.
Do you have a treatment side effect, or what was your biggest loss on cancer diagnosis?
I did have some side effects and still now. So some side effects because I had radiation. I kind of ended up with some bladder and sexual function issues.
How did your personal relationship change after the diagnosis?
This one is a tricky one. My personal relationships like changed an awful lot, I think, because I just didn't feel like my old self. I wasn't very happy. And now things are all blossoming again because I feel like I have let go of the sadness in ways of the past and everything is blooming and definitely nicer than it was before because now I have a different outlook on relationships and life in general. Crappy for a few years, much better now than before.
Do you know many cancer survivors, and how can you describe them in one word?
When I was going through my treatment, the cancer patients that I got to know at the time, they were all in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. They were all lovely and were definitely a support. The cancer survivors that I've met since then have been mainly through the Fresh Chapter program where I met lovely Carmen here. I guess maybe it was like the nature of that program where people were like interested in exploring different topics, but I would say like all of those guys were or gals were super like curious. Like they were open to new ideas and looking at things in different ways and yeah, exploring the new territory.
Have you experienced survivor guilt?
I would say no to this question. I always remember people being like, you should be so lucky that it's only stage 1 or stage 2 or whatever. And I remember thinking, I would be lucky if I didn't have anything wrong with me.
Did you have emotional and mental health support?
In Ireland, there's definitely like services out there. I think it took me like a while, to be honest, to even be ready to talk about things. After my treatment finished, I was just like tired for like 6 months, I would say, not really doing that much and just kind of being by myself a lot of the time. And then everything happened so quickly. And the hospital, the nurses and people that I got to know there, they were all very supportive and always an ear to talk to when you went in there. So that was helpful. And then I ASC program, and I think that's the thing that helped me. Like I got to meet all these amazing people who lots that I still have a very deep connection with.
Are you afraid of having cancer again?
In the beginning, I 4 years since I was diagnosed. So I would say probably the first 2.5 years, I was just like freaked out all the time about that. And now I don't feel like that. They say time is a good healer.
Did you ever feel ashamed or excluded by your communities after being diagnosed with cancer?
I wouldn't say. Maybe I did in ways like cervical cancer was a very topical thing in Ireland. So I guess maybe at some points there was like I didn't mention what type of cancer I had because I didn't want to get into that conversation with people. I like not having that identity. I find that I don't tell people at all if I can help it. So it's a part of the story, but not who I am in essence, I guess.
Surviving cancer has made me a person who. You have to finish the sentence.
surviving cancer has made me a person who will try anything now. I think before cancer, I didn't really have any hobbies or interests. Now I have a million hobbies.
Side effects from the treatments that actually you liked?
No more periods. Though sometimes I kind of wish I'd have them as well, but I have to say it's handy.
What is the goofiest thing someone has said to you when they have found that you had cancer?
I think there's always like a lot of shocked reactions or no reactions sometimes. Everybody also wants a different reaction, I guess. You know, there's no good or right reaction for everybody.
Have you ever used the C card?
Yes. Of course. Multiple times.
What changes would you like to see between your own communities to better support the emotional and mental health cancer patients?
In Ireland, just from my own personal experience of it, the gynecological cancer, I'm back here again, is more communities talking about women's sexual health in Ireland. There is very little information out there, and like there needs to be conversations of that in the population at large. But as we know, sexual function is just different post-cancer, so it needs to be talked about and normalized.
The last one, which word describe you that doesn't have anything to do with cancer?
Sort of creative. I like making things with my hands, like doing origami and pottery are the two things. So yeah, a bit of creativity.
Thanks, Hannah, for the interview. It was really good to hear you and good all your experience.
Thank you so much, Carmen. It was great to be on here today. So thank you very much for interviewing me.
Ok, thank you, bye. Gracias por ver el video. Si te gustó, dale me gusta y suscríbete al canal. Y si quieres apoyarnos, puedes invitarnos a un café en Buy Me a Coffee. Voy a dejar el link aquí. Gracias, nos vemos.